ask you, so, and obviously you kind of answered it a little bit. It was about the paid ads, but I'm getting a website set up. I didn't know, and I think I've been watching your videos, and you did. Do you have like a Google website and then like other websites?
It's a great question. It's actually a phenomenal question because we're right in the middle of transitioning. So
Okay.
I'll tell you the story and then tell you, I'll point you in a direction. Okay. So I've been using a service called ClickFunnels since 2016. Been using it for when we started our gym. And then somewhere in between there, actually somewhere before that, excuse me, I had a website built and I spent like $3,000. This was like probably 2014 or 2015. Spent like $3,000 and spent $350 or $400 a month to have them hosted and updated all these things, right? And do you want to know how many leads I got from that website, Nettie? How
Probably
many people
zero.
turned into customers that gave me money?
I don't know.
Neither do I, right?
None.
I have no idea, right? Because that wasn't the goal of the website. It was just for it to look pretty and for me to feel good. And it wasn't made for optimization to turn it from a lead to a client. Okay. And so from that moment, I've had this anger towards websites and people who build websites, right? Because I feel like I got taken advantage of as a young entrepreneur. And so a couple years later, when I got ClickFunnels, their whole message is like, you don't need a website, you need a funnel. And so since 2016, I've used a funnel for my gym, and I've basically turned ClickFunnels, which is a landing page software, basically just means that like it's just a page, and then like once you opt in, it goes to the next step of the funnel, whatever it is. For us, it's just an opt-in, or it's just a place where you can schedule a phone call, a discovery call, a sales call, for us to somehow extract money from you. Okay.
Yeah.
So since that time, I've used a funnel as a website. Okay. So I've not paid for a website. Now, I've done this all the way up until yesterday. Right. But from this community, one of the things that I couldn't ignore was people like Brian Grant and people like Evan, who I see is on here too as well, and then Jessica and Lucas, Nick White, this thing called Go Ahead Level, right? Which is just a more robust version of ClickFunnels. And so since I couldn't ignore all this talk about Go Ahead Level, I've been playing around with it over the last couple of weeks, and we made the decision to actually switch from using ClickFunnels to Go Ahead Level. And I did it on accident yesterday. I was actually transferring a domain out of ClickFunnels, and I thought that I had to hit the yes button for it to transfer out, but I didn't. And all of a sudden we had nothing. Like our website was blank. And so I had to transfer it into Go Ahead Level, which honestly didn't take very long, just took me a couple hours. But now we are officially on Go Ahead Level. We have an actual website, which is actually built within Go Ahead Level. And we have our funnels that are inside Go Ahead Level, and we have traffic running to it. So the reason I tell you all that is because up to this point, I've taught everything through ClickFunnels. And I will update the training that we will be using Go Ahead Level, because it's just so much better. It just is. And I've been using ClickFunnels for a very long time. And as far as the price point on it, there's like two price points for Go Ahead Level. It's like $97 a month and $297 a month. I'm not exactly sure the differences. In all fairness, like I just use the more expensive one, and there actually is even one that's even more expensive than that. But for the sake of this conversation, if you're going to build a website and you're also going to use funnels, which 100%, if you're using paid marketing, funnels is the way to do it. Along with there's like other little things that will help you in the process of doing paid advertising. Go Ahead Level is the way to do it. Now, you can, if you having your website built on like WordPress or something like that, you can, from my understanding, you can move it into Go Ahead Level. There's a plugin for that. However, for a cleaning business, local cleaning business, like there's a website as part of the package. It's pretty simple. So
Okay, so my question is so I actually hooked, or I think Jay, I don't know his last name, but his name's Jason. He's through this group, and he got me hooked up with a guy that, so pretty much I got on a call with him. what he wants to do, and I haven't done it yet because I wanted to know your opinion on this, is build a simple landing page, and it comes with all the funnels and everything. So pretty much you pay like $500 for the landing page and all the good things like that, and then you would pay like 97 a month after that. So you would only pay 500 once, and then you do 97 a month for them to do all the stuff behind the scenes, pretty much. I don't know if that would be if that's good or if you're like that's good or I don't know. Yeah, I've never had one, so I have no clue what to do.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, it sounds reasonable. I don't have a problem with it. That's what I mean. That's sounds good. Yeah, I think that as far as like, again, I'm not an expert at going what my interest means. There's other like, I'm not sure if how many other people you connected. Who was the person that you connected on that?
I'll look at them on Facebook, but
Oh, you went on mute or something happened. Now I can't hear you for some reason, Eddie. No, it's really weird. You were definitely talking. And still can't hear you. That's really weird. Yeah. I don't know why I can't hear you. You literally were talking, and now you're not saying it. I mean, I see your lips moving, but I don't hear you anymore. So Nettie, what I'm gonna have you do, because I don't know who to reach out to. I'm not saying that not they're not reputable. They're not reputable. They're not a good person, but I would have you reach out to Brian Grant, who's on here right now. Just ask him some feedback. He's somebody who's a giver in this book or a giver in this group, and he uses Go High Level. Nick White is somebody who I'd reach out to as well. So these are guys who I trust, and they've been using Go High Level for a long time. Jessica Lucas, Van Hoffen, and they can say yes or no, or they can point you in the direction because this honestly is a big step from like you've been doing this as a solo cleaner for a couple of years, not having a website. You've generated a ton of business. I think you have, I think you told me last week you had like 50 something recurring clients, and now you're ready to go to the next level. And so, yeah, I think it's an important step that you do the best you can for the information that you have, and the benefit of what you have done is you put yourself in this group. So like you're going to be able to create a system that's going to last a long time rather than when I first started, I had to like do so many of these little like small jumps because I was trying to do it all myself, and I was doing it based on the limited information I had. And you can piggyback on guys like Brian, guys like Nick, guys like Lucas. And so, yeah, but that's my advice to you. Because again, I'm not 100% sure who this other person you are, who he is. And again, I'm not familiar enough to say that's great or not great. I honestly don't know. So cool. Brian, Nick, Lucas, Jessica, they're the ones who I know for sure. I know there's a lot of people in here who use it. So if you guys are on this call, you reach out to Nettie too, but cool. I have no idea why I can't hear you. All right, Nettie. Appreciate you. All right. Christine, what is going on?
Hi, Logan.
How are you doing? You're not sick?
No, well, half sick. My kids are sick, and I think I'm getting sick now. I'm crossing my fingers I don't.
Bunch of sickos, man.
I know.
Not down with that.
I know.
What's up, real? How you doing?
Good. So I posted a question earlier in the week. Katie was asking what questions everyone had, and it was about profit margin. And thank you, Brian, for interacting with me. I see you're on, by the way. I appreciate that. I'm in a different place than I was when I originally asked that question to Katie, because I've had the opportunity to really dive deeper into our numbers this week. But we've obviously spent so far this year really focused on sales, getting our numbers up. And that's just been like the top line number is what I've been so focused on. And for the past couple months now, I'm sort of looking at, all right, at the end of the day, what does Christine get? And what do I get to take home, and how does my family eat, right? And we looked at our numbers at the end of November, and it was just like soul crushing, right? Like not what I thought I was going to see. And we were tracking everything. We're doing the intelligence sheet, we're doing the vision sheet. But at the end of the day, it still wasn't what I thought I was going to see or what I was hoping for. And our payroll is very high on our techs. And I know some of why, and I kind of expected it to a certain extent. We're on empowerment pay, and we had some shifting staff, and I had a group of leaders that really stepped up and they were working a lot. So they were all hitting like 43%. But still, I was surprised how much we had. So I just was curious, with me pretty much getting to a point that I understand that payroll is a high cost for me. Do you have any sort of targets that you work towards and sort of try to meet when you think about your techs and then your VAs and everything all together? Because for me, I looked at all my other expenses, right? I have marketing. I'm not going to stop marketing. And, all the other things we have, the software ZenMade's not going away. For me, it just feels like payroll's really high. And I'm wondering if I'm just way off in terms of like how I'm staffed or something like that.
What's the goal with the business?
To make money.
Yeah. How much? Like, do you have a target? Like, do you want this business to be $1 million business? Do you want it to be a $500,000 business? Do you want it to be $2 million?
Yeah.
Like, what is your target?
What
is the target?
Absolutely want to be $1 million business for sure.
Cool. And so when you say that you're overstaffed, or your payroll is high, like, how much payroll does it take for you to grow $1 million business? Like, how many cleaners do you have right now?
Right now, I have 3 cleaners full time.
And how many cleaners do you need in order for you to build $1 million business?
More than that, way more than that. Yeah, like 4 times that.
Yeah. So if you go back to your $1 million blueprint, you have it on there of what your $1 million business looks like. How many cleaners you need? Here's how much you're charging per hour. Here's how many hours that they're working. And so when there's moments where you're like, why am I doing this? Like, we didn't even get paid this month, right? What are you actually doing? Like, if you just want to make money, that's a different problem you're solving than you want to grow $1 million business.
Yeah, I hear you.
They're different things. People, hold on. Let me say on this, because I think this is important, because like I go through this as well. Everybody else goes through this, or maybe they haven't gone through it because they're still small. When you're small, you can make a lot of money. You also work really hard for that little amount of money as well. And so there's a point where you work less because you hire the people, high payroll, but you're also working hard, but now you're also getting paid less, and maybe sometimes substantially less. And you're like, well, that sucked. How about I don't do that again? And then you just kill all the things that can help your business grow. And then you stay small, shrink, stay the same, and you don't actually grow. Right. And so I think it's just important that it's like everything, that there is a cost. There is a cost of growth. And that cost is your November of 2023 did not meet expectations. Right. And so as we try to be wise, as I try to be wise, the thing I look at is like, am I going to care more about 1 month or 2 months that I didn't make what I wanted to make? Or am I going to care more about that I built this asset that then kicks off $16,000, $20,000 a month, which is what a $1 million business with 20% margin, what that kicks off? And am I willing to pay the price of having a couple poor months, maybe a year of poor months, to then have an asset for the rest of my life that will kick off $16,000, $20,000, $25,000 a month?
Yeah.
Net.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's very, very valid. I've never taken a paycheck from my business, not once.
But now you have to. Now it's different.
Yeah. as you know, I quit, right? So
It's different.
as of November 30th, I'm no longer employed,
Yeah.
right? So I used to have a W-2, and um, I had the business for 2 years with a business partner. It was run in a way that was very inefficient. I never got paid then. And in April, I took over full time, and I still have not taken a paycheck. And I'm not going to walk away, right? Because I believe in what we're doing, and there's a something bigger on the horizon. So I hear you. I guess my question almost is like, at what point do you, I guess, or did you, in your experience, or if you have any advice, establish some level of profit? Because at some point you have to eat, right? And am I mismanaging something, or too top heavy, or is this natural, right? Like, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So this is amazing. Like, you get to experience eat what you kill. Like, and that's it. It's not a side hustle. It's not like this thing you do on the side. It's like a commitment device that you have put into place of like, let me just kill off this other income stream. And now this is my only thing. And so the way you look at it is done differently after years of owning this business. So just to say that you did that is like, that's amazing. Like the amount of feelings you're feeling, you're just feeling different feelings because now you have a different situation. And the longer you can sit in those uncomfortable feelings, it gives you more time to figure out how to acquire the skills to grow this business. Right. So that's the first step, or excuse me, that's the first thing that I want to point out is like, congratulations for like committing to putting yourself in a situation. Now you're just like, oh shoot, what about like now all the doubt, what's up, baby? All the fears, all the things like, it's like, did I make the right decision? Like all that stuff is like, that's the human is like, okay, now I got to make money from this, right? It changes. So it's good if you choose it to be good. It's like, how do I turn this energy and then turn it into like, I'm going to make some money. I'm going to make this thing work. And you looking at numbers, you like actively searching for solutions. I like that. Okay. Now to actually answer your question more strategically, just understanding that when you have a high payroll, like so when we grow $1 million business, like I talk about this a lot, that the less that you do, the more valuable your business becomes. Okay. So like, for instance, like if you wanted to clean, I mean, you could make $1,000 a week, right? So like, that'd be great. If you wanted to do sales, you could probably make $1,000 a week or something like that. And so right now you have all these positions that are outsourced. So looking at it from like, what is something that you're going to have to work hard and be a good leader, right? So it means you have to work more. And so maybe your dollar per hour is less, but the amount of money that you need to make from the business, it's sufficient as you continue to grow. Right? So it's like a stepping stone. It's not like I'm either not working in business or I'm working in business. It's like, to what degree are you working in the business? So I think like cleaning is something that nobody should be doing. Like it's just like the lowest, it's the lowest use of your time when it comes to growing the business. Like you need cleaners, you need really good cleaners, but you cleaning is the worst thing that your business needs, is you cleaning. Okay. The second worst thing that you can do for your business is be like an admin and do payroll and do like repetitive work. Okay. That's the next thing that you can just like make sure your business never grows, is do that kind of stuff. Okay. Do admin stuff. So I think the two places that people outsource the fastest, that also can like help you keep profit in the business, which basically gives you the ability to pay yourself, is in both sales and in hiring. Right. And so if I look at somebody and like, if this person says, I need to make money in my business, but also want to grow it, then like, are you doing sales? Are you doing hiring? And I know your situation. I know you have a rock star who does a lot of those things. But if I needed to make money, I'm going to put myself in a sales role. And again, it doesn't be you replace her, but it's like you just do more, right? If you have 2 salespeople, you can go faster. If you have 2 people hiring, you can go faster. So if I'm like, what's the best use of my time right now to grow this business and at the same time put money in my pocket, I'm going to pay myself as a salesperson. You know, And you can actually do that, or you can just like do the amount of work that there's the money that's left over at the end of the month for you to actually pay yourself. And preferably you actually do pay yourself, like you're a salesperson, right? Tell me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm not doing sales right now. And actually right before the beginning of November, I brought on somebody to do sales on the weekends because we're getting a lot of calls on the weekends, so like Google LSA and things like that. And we were just really missing a lot of opportunities. And now I actually have a nighttime person too, from like 5 to 10. So I'm not doing any sales at all. I'm doing hiring, which I intend to keep for now, and I think is the right decision. But I'm not doing sales. But I mean, yeah, what you say makes sense. And it's not like I have to have the dollar today. I see the bigger picture. I just, part of me is just like, I look at the numbers and I'm like, am I doing something wrong here? Is my payroll super inflated? Just like the curiosity in me is like, does everybody have like 90% of their staff at 43%? Like if they're paying out empowerment pay, and that's what my team wants, right? They're like, fill my schedule. I want to work. And I'm blessed to have a bunch of like just players that are like ready to work. They have great attitude and they're doing a fantastic job. I don't know that I could actually retain people at 30%, 38%, because especially in Connecticut, cost of living is like super, super high. And I'm just like, well, I don't think I can pay everybody 43% because maybe the numbers just don't work.
Yeah.
And that's what's been going through my mind.
Yeah. Do you know what your cost of goods sold is?
Yeah. So
As a
when,
percentage?
yeah, it's very sad.
What is it?
So we ended up, well, total, it was 70% in payroll expense alone last month between like my office staff, sales, and cleaning techs.
So you should separate those out. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it
fine.
was 60% in
60
10
and 10.
and 10 in office.
Yeah, okay. So that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So you're at 70%. So then what other expenses do you have? Like where else is there like did you net 10%? 15? Did you net 20?
No,
Like
we were negative 2%. Negative. Yeah.
So then where'd the other 30% come from?
Marketing and other like software expenses like Just Calls, ZenMaid, pretty much software.
So 30% of your other expenses came from marketing?
Marketing, software, yes, insurance, yeah.
Yeah. So then I would, just based on those numbers, like cost of goods sold, 50%. I think we run 55% on high months. Office, 10%. I think 10% is high for your revenue, Mark. That's high for sure. And that doesn't include you. Right. Yeah. So I think that number is, yeah, it is, right? But 30% of marketing, I know, and I'm including softwares.
Yeah, it's marketing, it's the software. Actually, I have, sorry, I'm just not remembering off the top of my head, but I have the P&L handy. So it's marketing, it's software, it's.
Have you collected all invoices? Is that like, is everything's up to date?
Yep. So, everything else is pretty much like ad spend. I have Stripe fees in that category.
Yeah.
Job supplies, right? Like the cleaning supplies, obviously. Recruiting, because I started like doing ad spend on Indeed to get new candidates. And then
what was your previous month? Did you make money previous month?
My prior month was a 4% margin, and
before that,
the month before that was 2%.
Okay, so you're consistently low, and that doesn't include owner pay.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I really look at it and I go back, it's I think it's because I have all my techs that are just, they're making 43% every week, all of them for the most part. They want full schedules. And the that kills me is like, they're great and they want to work full time. Why wouldn't I want them to work full time?
Yeah.
I don't know. So
yeah, I think I would help you shift that a little bit, because like they're literally the thing that make you all the money.
Yeah.
I mean, our cogs, again, we aim for 50%, and sometimes we have up to 55% if we are doing lots of training, if we're doing cleans to fill the schedules, which is another problem that we have it with a bigger team. But yeah, I don't actually see a problem with paying people 43% if they're actually like, so if they're actually doing, I guess let me not assume things. What are the tiers that you're using for your pay?
43, 38, 30. And I thought about
How
changing it.
many, but how many hours? Like, what are the hourly
Oh,
requirements?
whatever you had out there. So I think it's like 34 to get into the
Okay.
43%. That's
So
what
they're
they're
working full time to get to 43%. Okay.
exactly. Yes.
That's
yeah.
It costs your company less to have people work more than it does for you to have a bunch of part-timers. So again, I don't see that as a problem.
Okay.
Based on your data you give me, like it's higher, but the fact that you have single digit profit margin, that's not the issue I see. Like 10% in the office with, you have one person, right? Who's in the office? And
No,
then your VA?
I have one person office and then a VA. Yes.
Yeah.
And then now I have somebody working weeknights doing sales, but she's commission only. So she doesn't get paid unless she sells.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing a bigger issue with the amount of money that you're spending on software marketing. If that's all like that should combined be in that 5 to 10% range. So like you're like, that's where your margin is in all those, like somehow those expenses are.
I missed the part, Christine. What was your overall, like your monthly volume that you were at?
In terms of revenue?
Did you share the revenue numbers?
She didn't share it.
Okay.
No, that's okay. I can share it. So we're doing about 20K a month. We've been averaging about 20K a month for the past few months.
So some of those fixed costs in your and is that with your ad spend, is it creating growth? Is it driving month over month growth?
It's driving growth. I think the marketing's been challenging the past few months because like I think everyone's probably experiencing that, right? Like it's very challenging to market right now. You don't get as far with your dollar, it seems, right now because everyone's advertising right now. But yes, we see growth. We do really well with Google LSA.
Okay. And at that level, have you shopped the competition and priced your services appropriately where they need to be?
Yeah, so I think so this is a conversation I was actually having internally yesterday. I think we're going to increase our recurring rates for our customers. So we're charging 65. Basically, it breaks down to 65 an hour for new customers, but we were charging about 55 for recurrings or after the first service, and I think we're going to bump that materially.
Okay. And the reason I ask is that as you get to a certain level, some of those things, a software, most of them don't cost much. You know, you overcome some of those fixed costs. It's not huge; it's a smaller percentage, but your margin should make up a little bit of that
Yeah.
as you get to a certain level.
And that's
and some of the office staff, if that's a hourly, you know, an office person can take on, whether you're doing $30,000 a month or $20,000 a month, it doesn't really make a difference
right.
sometimes. So kind of think about some of your things in there, like your labor should rise equally as you surge up, maybe a little for training, but as your volume goes up, your labor percentage is going to be the same. You just really want to look at those fixed costs, and you're going to overcome something.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that about the fixed cost, because I'm like, I've been thinking about that. I'm like, well, maybe I'm just being a little too, maybe like negative on this, jumping the gun on it, right? Because obviously those costs are not going to change, right? Like materially, Zenmade, Suggest Call, things like that, they're going to kind of remain flat. So yeah, I appreciate all the feedback and everything. I'm gonna dig into it a little bit more. I think we're gonna raise our recurring rates, not on existing
Do you-
customers, but just moving forward.
Do you actually have those numbers that I just put in the, like, how much money did you spend on marketing in November? How many leads you got scheduled, showed, closed? Like, do you have those numbers accessible to us? Because I think that's where I'd like
Yeah.
to dive a little bit deeper into as well. Thanks, Brian, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Yeah, I've got my vision sheet handy. So I don't have the total for the whole month in front of me, but like, for example, the last week, looks like Whitney had like a 40% close rate. The week prior, a 50% close rate. Is that what you're looking for? Or are you looking for
All of
actually
them. Yeah,
ad
just like,
spend?
how much money did you spend? Yeah, from the top.
Oh, how much we spend? Yeah, hold on. I got that for you. Hold on one second.
Yeah, so this is great. So James, if you're still on here or still listening, we dropped that paid marketing doc in the chat as well. So this, for all of you guys who went on here before, I think this is important for marketing, just having standards that you can measure against to say, okay, this is in the ballpark, or this is really low, we need to work on this, or this is really good, we need to, like, what is actually constraint of our marketing. And so our numbers are ad spend. So how much money do we spend over what period?
Are you asking me, Logan?
Mhm.
2,500 in ad spend for November.
Okay. And how many leads did you get?
I gotta go add it up because I don't think I have it for the total month, but hold on one second. I can do it real quick. Just grab my vision sheet.
That's good. Yeah. So part of this process is also just being able to know what numbers to pay attention to, because there's a bazillion numbers we can track in our business, and there are honestly very few that actually really move the needle. And these 7 numbers are very much numbers that we should all be paying attention to. And when we're analyzing, when we're focused, like, these are the numbers we should be having a better read on how we improve our marketing, which therefore it can improve the growth of our business, which also can include the profitability of the business as well. So we have ad spend, which is the first number. So how much money did you totally spend? And this is amongst multiple platforms, right? Not just Google LSA. Is this amongst everything?
It's over everything. Yeah.
So we spent $2,500. And is that an actual number? Because round numbers to me are never real numbers. So, like,
You know, it's a real number. It was 2,518.
Okay, there it is.
How
many leads?
Yeah, sorry. My vision sheet's giving me issues right now. I'm gonna try and open it again. All right, so getting about, like, looks like on average about 25, so about 100 leads a month. And the close
were actually scheduled for phone calls.
looks like about, so about 40.
And how many actually showed up to phone calls and you talked to them?
Okay, so looks like about 8, 6, 12. So about 60% of them, it looks like. So yeah, almost 30. Yeah, it was like 28, I think. I'm sorry, I'm doing quick math and my sheet's being temperamental. About 28 of them, it looks like. And then she's hovering right about around a 50% close rate.
We had 28 who showed, and then we closed 14 of them.
Yeah.
And do you have somewhere like how much those 14 cleans cost? Like how much can we calculate the upfront?
On those specific cleans,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that handy. I can get it, but I don't have that handy.
Yeah. Cool. So this is great. This is like, these are the numbers, Christine, that we need in order for me to help you and for you to be able to see what you need to focus on in this marketing channel. Because right now we're very inefficient with our marketing. You're spending $2,500. You're getting 14 sales, and do you know what your average clean is? Like just in general, like what you're like
Overall, with recurring and everything, it's about 220.
220. And your initial cleans are generally a little bit more expensive than that, right? So let's just say for the sake of this conversation, let's just say it's 350. Yeah. So 315 times 14. So as a hypothetical example, because we don't actually know the number, it would be really nice if we knew that number. So again, this is where like the more actual data we have, the better decisions we can make. So the more hypothetical numbers we come up with, the more hypothetical answers you get. So on this hypothetical, if we average 350 per initial clean, then we would make $4,900. Right. So the biggest constraint, like the biggest drop off I see, if we have $2,500 in ad spend, we have 100 leads, we have 40 scheduled, 28 showed, 14 closed, is your schedule rate is extremely low. Like you're only scheduling 40% of your leads, and only 30% of those are actually getting on phone calls. So your nurture process is a constraint. So I guess what is your lead nurture process right now? Like when a lead comes in,
a VA that's
after
using
that?
the text script that you have in the masterclass. She's scheduling calls for Whitney, and I actually inserted another step where I have the VA like an hour before the call remind them like, hey, I'm going to be reaching out from this number, and at 4 o'clock or whatever, to try and increase like the answer rate on the calls.
Cool.
I don't even really have data on that yet because we just started that like a week ago.
Yeah. Your scheduled or showed rate isn't necessarily a problem. So like I'm less concerned about once people get scheduled that they show up or not. Like that's not where I see the constraint right now. There's 60 people who are not even scheduled, who haven't been talked to out of those 100 leads.
Yeah.
So I think that
of
process
the time it's like Facebook leads, like we just have a hard time just getting on the phone with them. Google, I'll say, has been really good to us. Like I can just see, like, because I've looked at that for October too, like they're searching, so they want it now, right?
Yeah.
And we talk to them. They also just call, right? So we answer the phone.
Are you doing lead ads, or are you doing through the funnel? Because I can't remember.
I was doing Facebook, Google PPC, Google LSA. We turned off PPC like a month ago for now, and then we're just doing
through Facebook. If I remember right, were you guys using Google lead forms, or excuse me, Facebook leads rather than actually through a funnel? Do you have because you have Go High Level, so do you have a funnel that you push your traffic towards?
Yeah, so we have a page on High Level and they fill out the form. Yeah, okay. So we get like their info. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So a solution I see is that somebody on your team needs to just pick up the freaking phone and call people.
Yeah, that's what we started to do this week. We're literally just calling people. It's actually interesting because a lot of people were like, thank you, which is not the response Whitney expected. She was a little apprehensive, and they were just like, I'm good for now, but thank you because I might need you actually next month. And so it gave her like some good energy on that. I think she's going to keep doing it. But yeah, we're proactively calling and texting like crazy the past 2 weeks because even just our lead volume in general has been down. So we're trying to reactivate everybody in our database. So I think you're really on point with that comment. Yeah.
We were forced to do that when we lost our texting abilities through the phone verification process. And so we just had to call people. And we haven't stopped, actually. We just were like, screw, I mean, we still have automatic texts that go out, but we have our salespeople just like, as soon as that they see a lead come in, like they're hopping on and they're talking to people, and like we get more of the thank yous for calling these. And I don't even know if we have anybody who's upset with us, like zero. Like they gave us their contact information. So like they're just surprised.
Right.
So like, you actually called. Crazy. And the speed to close is so much faster. So I think that's your biggest problem. It's just like, if you just like, all the rest of your numbers are not like, they're fine. You just have only talked to 30 out of those 100 leads.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, just talk to double. You talk to twice as many people. You move from $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and we're having a different conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
All right.
I also think that you're just, because you're having to spend so much money because you're not optimized. You're like you're only closing 14 people. If you close 28 people, you wouldn't have to spend as much money. Like, just mind you, like we have months where we spend $2,500 and we do $100,000 a month. So it's like your ad spend towards your revenue is, right now it's off. So like, if you're growing, like Brian Grant was saying, like as long as you're growing, it's fine. But if you're not growing, you have problems. Like that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's really a good point, because now that I think about it, I became really hyper obsessed with the payroll. But I know Whitney was like 65, 70% close rate a few months ago, and mid-October, November, I don't know what the reason is, right? I don't want to say it's her performance or whatever it is, but it's gone down. So I'll have to.
Yeah, has it gone down because you guys are charging more? Like, I'm okay with that.
No, because I haven't started charging more yet. We
Exactly.
were just
so it's not always bad. I'm just saying is like, just because the percentage went down isn't always a bad thing. Because I've had sales people's percentage go down because we just started charging more, and it's okay too.
Yeah.
Right. Or going after bigger types of claims, or we're just being pickier for whatever reason. Like there's reasons why that close rate might go down, but if it is a conviction thing, that's something like you can just ask her. Like, no, like sometimes it's just the flow of the numbers. But I think going back to the original point of this call, like if you want to increase that profit margin, get more efficient with your numbers, but find somewhere in there where you can be on payroll so you can get paid, which does require you to do some work.
Yes.
So,
well, thank you, Logan. I appreciate it. And thank you, Brian.
Cool. Cool, guys. All right. Who's on here next? Kenan, you still got a question, my dude?
Yes, I didn't know if we were potentially over on time. Are we still good?
We're just talking, man. We're good. We're good. What's up, dude? Welcome. I think I've seen you before.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is my first time actually hopping on a call. I joined here recently, and it's been nothing but value. So I just want to definitely say thank you, and everybody else in the group who's been a ton of help. But my question is more so towards the funnel aspect. So very similar to you, we have a website that's through WordPress right now. However, I came across Go High Level, and it seemed like a really good platform. So we adopted Go High Level, and on our website, when you click our obviously get an instant price button, it links them to a Go High Level form. So that way they can go ahead and sync into our Go High Level system. However, after they input their information in the lead form, it redirects them to our ZenMaid booking form. Now, my question is, we're having trouble with abandoned cart at that point, and I believe it may be because they're either accessing price or nurture. I'm not sure what it is.
You're saying abandoned cart at the ZenMaid booking form?
Yes. So once they submit a lead form and get access to the booking form, we're seeing the customers are not following through with actually booking. So I've seen a ton of people in the group actually say that they don't even have the process of a booking form, more so a callback or a consultation process. So in you all's experience, what do you find most successful for cleaning businesses? Should we be trying to make this a one-on-one interaction with our customers? You know, I'll be honest, I'm pretty bullheaded. I think we're going into 2024. I think people want to text. I'm not sure that we're still in a place to where people want to have a conversation on the phone. But I'd love to hear more and kind of hear what's successful for some of the other businesses here.
So this is a great question because we have recently tweaked our homepage funnel, and there was a comment inside the group where I had made a training a couple months ago about making an online booking form for the homepage. So when you're talking about this page, are you running paid traffic to it, or is this just organic traffic that you're talking about when people come to your homepage, they do this process, or are you running marketing dollars towards it, or is it just strictly organic?
So it's strictly organic at this point.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So just want to set the frame for everyone who's listening, because like the advice I'm going to give is because we're talking about organic traffic, it's a different strategy when we're talking about paid traffic, which is what I was talking about with Christine. So with the organic traffic, which is people just coming to your website because they Googled you or they got referred to you, they're clicking around for probably a year and a half. I don't know exactly the time frame, but we had it set up very similar to how you have it set up, that they would come to our website, they would click the book online. We wouldn't actually collect payment information, or excuse me, we wouldn't collect contact information. We actually had them go straight to the ZenMaid booking form. Okay. So you're smart. You actually put a step in between them. We actually collected their information before you sent them to the ZenMaid booking form. We didn't do that for like a year and a half. And then I had this idea. I was like, Kenyon, smart, right? I was like, what if I actually collected their contact information first, because I recognized that a lot of people probably did abandon the cart, but at least then at that point I had the ability to actually contact them before they saw the price. And so we made the switch, in our business about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Take a guess on how many more leads we get to our homepage now than we did with that. Just simply, they had to actually go through the ZenMaid booking form before they gave us any information.
I'm not sure.
What's your abandoned cart percentage?
So that's a very good question. We're seeing a ton of abandoned cart at this point. I believe we're probably at 70%, just based on, I haven't done our KPIs for the month just yet, but I believe it's at about 70%.
So our leads went up 25%, right? So probably right at that point. So yes, it's normal that people, once they see what the price is, then they're gonna be like, but you're smart because you already have contact information. So I think the problem you're trying to solve is actually not a problem. I think the problem you have is an expectation that somebody's just actually going to go through the online booking form, and you're going to talk to them, and you're going to show up to the clean, and then they're going to give you money, and then they're going to become a recurring client, and you can do it all without having to speak to them, right? I think that is the expectation that I think we all want, but ultimately, like what we're doing in the cleaning business is we're actually creating a relationship with somebody, service-based relationship, which makes this like residential cleaning is different than commercial cleaning. It's different than like it's a home-based service that we're going to be in their home. So there's a different level of relationship that is needed. And so the only thing I would say for what you're doing that we actually do is like, we just call them. Like, I don't care if they abandon the cart or not, because I'm picking up, I'm calling them, and I'm going to get them on a phone call. I'm going to close them. Right. And so that's been our process since day one. Like, we've always picked up the phone. We've always called people. I think the idea of having somebody just come through your booking site and book, and then in that whole process without ever having to talk to somebody, I think it's more a farce than it is a reality. And it might work occasionally, but to run a scale business, it's not going to work. Right. So I think that's the only thing that I see for you is like, and we have so many people who, because we do call now, we just like pick up the phone. They're like, yeah, like I didn't fill out the booking form because it was just way too much. I'm like, oh yeah, like you were looking at our move out prices. It's okay, bro. Like, tell me about your goals, right? Why did you opt in? What are you looking for? And then we just go through our script. I don't know if you've seen the script inside the masterclass, but there's a script inside there about exactly like what our sales process is. But if you're, I guess let me ask you this: are you currently not selling anybody right now with a salesperson?
No, currently not. Just to give you a backstory on us, we started in 2021 and we ran through the end of 2022. At that point, our revenue, we were about at $16K per month. So doing fairly good at the height of the business, still growing though. But last year, this 2023 has been a rough year. And we kind of changed our philosophy, because in the beginning, we were a W-2 company. And then both my wife and I, we run the company. We kind of sat down and we thought, like, what is our long-term intention with this? And we're ISSA members, so we've been to a couple of conferences at this point. And just based on listening to a lot of the conversation, we decided to change over to 1099 because, and this is just my opinion, but I think from the W-2 perspective, cleaning business owners like myself, I've been guilty. I think we can get into a habit of becoming the best cleaners, and that's not what we should be in the business of. We should be in the business of creating a good customer experience as well as creating a good hiring experience. And I know that we can do that from a 1099 perspective, whereas when you're W-2, you have to train, you have to have the material, you know what I mean? And I just want to find the best cleaners and the best customers and put them together, you know? So that's how we're rebuilding the business now, literally from the ground up today as we speak. So that's the process that I'm in right now.
Cool. And I think that's great. And that model's improving. Like the 1099 or the W-2, I think that's less of the question here. I think the thing that I am seeing right now that I'll continue to ask questions on is, are you opposed to sales? Is it just not something you're aware of? What's stopping you from actually getting on the phone and closing?
Yeah, so that's certainly not a problem. I work in sales in the real estate industry, so it's just time perspective. Yeah, it's time perspective.
Yeah, and I think that maybe we just reset expectation that like it's going to take time. Like this business is going to need your time and attention. Maybe more than you maybe preferred. But if you actually want to grow this thing, what is your plan with it? Like, what do you want to get to? Do you guys have like a number that you want to get it to? Do you have a place that you're trying to get it to? Like, what's your ideal outcome with this business?
Yeah, we definitely want to get it to 7 figures. Specifically, I'd say probably about the 3 million run rate, and then potentially look at either selling or franchising, one of the two. But our goal is to definitely sell once we hit the 3 million run rate.
Yeah, so I think what I'll do is I'll just drop that doc that I just dropped in there. I put in our last 5 months of our marketing funnel of how much money we spent on marketing, how many leads we got, how many of those got scheduled, how many showed up to phone calls, how many we closed over the phone, how much revenue was produced from those, and what our ROI is. I think it just gives you a framework of like what's possible or what is out there and what's working. And I don't know of a cleaning business that doesn't get on the phone and sell people that does 7 figures. Right. I've never heard of one. I know that more businesses that have salespeople and who do this process, and that's why we follow it. That's why we use it. So again, whether that's you doing in the beginning to eventually have a salesperson, fine. But in order for you to grow a 7-figure cleaning business, you're going to need to have somebody do sales. 100%.
Okay.
Like, I have 2 full-time salespeople, and like we're going as fast as we possibly can. And like we do 106,000 last month, and we've done 100,000 last 6 months, and like we're going to 2 million next year. So it's going to take more salespeople, not less salespeople. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. And the amount of online booking forms that we get in comparison to everything else is just like it's very, very small. People who actually make it all the way through the process, right? So it's a trench that'll help that'll fill the business up, but it's not the only trench, right?
Okay.
So hopefully that helps.
Absolutely.
Maybe hurt, but help at the same time.
No, it's perfect. I appreciate it.
Will do. Yeah. If you need anything, be inside the group. Again, all the marketing stuff's in there, all the sales stuff is in there. The sales stuff is really good. I mean, the marketing stuff is good too, but sales stuff is really good. So,
okay. Thanks.
Will do. All right, guys. Anybody else got any other questions? We got any questions? Brian Grant, you got a question, or did I just unmute you?
No, I think I left myself off mute. All right, my bad.
Yeah. You bad, boy. You bad. All right, somebody. Oh, Cammy's got a question. What's up, Cammy?
So it's funny trying to navigate things on a phone, a computer. Okay. So I know I got on here really late, but it's crazy season for hockey. I'll say it over and over.
We're still here. We're still here.
I know. I appreciate it. I'm so glad you are. So what would your advice be on knowing my crazy situation and all the squirrels I have going on? And just being I know that I know I'm not a victim. I'm not saying I am, but I want to know like what would be a strategic plan, because right now, yes, I got 5 cleaners. I haven't cleaned for 2 weeks, Logan.
I know, it's amazing. Streaking.
Now I am trying to, my problem is I need help with recruiting, ads. I'm trying to learn everything I can learn. I'm gone 5 nights out of the week. During the day, I'm watching videos, training, catching calls, fetching calls. I know I need people. So I have an assistant, but she's very limited in her availability. And I'm realizing like, okay, at this point, I'm not producing anything from this person that I'm paying. So that's my first problem. And I guess I need some direction on where I need to go with where I'm at right now. Like, yes, we need more cleaners. We're working on that. We're still recruiting. I need salespeople, and I need advertising. Like, what would you suggest that I just focus on doing right now to not feel like I'm so consumed and overwhelmed trying to do everything and learning everything new? Does any of this make sense?
Yeah. Awesome. This is a signal of growth. This is the signal of putting yourselves into seats that you do not know the job descriptions. You don't know the role, the requirements, the responsibilities, the results you're looking for. You're literally making it up as you go. And you're doing it with multiple of these positions. And so welcome to the next stage of being an entrepreneur, which is learning the skill sets to grow a business that isn't the actual business itself, which is cleaning, right? And so congratulations. Like, first off, like give yourself some love for like making it here. This is when most people are afraid to get to, because they're feeling the feelings that you're feeling right now, which is like, shit, now what? Right?
Yeah, I want to cry. Like, I know
Yeah.
this is a good sign of growth. I know,
Yeah.
like, there's things that I need to learn. So then I guess my fear is like, okay, how do I hire somebody? But yet I don't even know how to do it myself. Exactly what you said. And then, single mom over here. And it's like my schedule's seriously packed. I'm thankful that I have these girls cleaning for me. Maybe I have a problem with time management. Maybe, probably at this point in my life because of the season that we're in. So I'm trying to cram everything, but yet I'm not, I'm getting overwhelmed with trying to learn so much, just like I just said, and learning everything to bring somebody on board. Like, yeah, what do I do?
How long do you plan on being in business for? What's the goal?
You cut out. What's that?
How long do you plan on being in business for? What's the dream outcome?
My dream? You want me to tell you my whole dream, or like
dream outcome? Like, how long do you plan on being in business for?
I mean, I don't ever not think I'm gonna be in business.
Okay. So when do you think you're gonna die?
I don't know, in 80 years.
Okay.
Okay, I'll say 45, 50.
Okay. Fair. So if you plan on being in business till the day that you die, and that's presumably 40 to 50 years.
So I'll be 90 something.
Yeah. It's the rush, man.
Well, the rush I put on myself is this. what I feel is a financial burden for me and my son, like the things that I'm sacrificing right now. Because I am learning, because I am growing, and I brought people on, and I'm sacrificing my own, which may be stupid. Like I'm sacrificing an income for myself right now. Like for the last 3 weeks, I have not been able to pay myself. So obviously there's an issue with something I'm doing, or not doing. But then again, I guess it's my own sacrifice that I'm doing. It's not like I can't pay myself. I think there's just fear.
What is the dream for this cleaning business? Like when you sacrifice for the last 3 weeks, like what are you sacrificing for? Ideally, what do you get
To
when you go
build?
to this cleaning business? Yeah, to build what?
To build revenue, to build my vision for.
What's the revenue that you have in your head that like if I hit that, this sacrifice will be worth it? What is that revenue?
Short term, long term.
Right now. Like, I'm willing
Right
to
now?
sacrifice 3 weeks of pay because I'm going to hit this revenue. What is
Yeah.
that revenue?
43.
43 a month?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's just short term. I mean,
Yeah.
but
So are you willing to make the trade of not getting paid for 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, maybe 12 weeks to get paid at least $8,600 per month? So that's divided by 4.33 to make $2,000 a week, at least for the rest of your life, because now you have this asset. Are you willing to make that trade?
yeah, but I don't want just that little amount. Like I'm not saying.
Okay. Then are you really sacrificing? Like,
No, I guess
I make that trade every freaking day. It's
I
like an
guess
easy trade.
I guess I'm feeling the weight because I know what, I don't know. I know it's Christmas. I know my son has expectations, and it's just hard, and it's okay.
I've
I've done hard.
I've had the pleasure of meeting your
hard.
son. Very fortunate to meet your son. You obviously came out the back end today. So I think that's unfair for you to put that on him. Like, he loves you no matter what. You don't care. You don't care about any of that. He just wants you to be successful. He told me. He showed up. He came as well. He does not care. And so, like, again, it's less on him and just more you continue to be focused on what you're doing. And you know what? If that means that one Christmas, we don't have the traditional Christmas, you know what? I'll tell you what we're doing, because I think Christmas is a farce, by the way. I don't really care. You guys, like, no one asked me this. I'm just going to tell. I think Christmas is a farce. And I have young kids. You know what we're doing this Christmas? We're giving presents away. We're not getting any presents because it's so stupid. It's just made up. And so you know what we're doing? We're actually going to give the people who actually are in need, whether that's food, whether it is presents, that's fine. Just because I don't care doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't care about presents, but we will give the presents. Right. And when you change it from a place of giving rather than getting, like everything changes. It becomes from being scarcity to abundant. And that type of thinking is what's is freeing to be like, it's okay if we don't have Christmas this year. It's okay not to have one Christmas because I'm going to spend the other 45 Decembers doing what I want with who I want. Right. And that's what you're doing in this moment is you're sacrificing 3 weeks, maybe it's 6 weeks, maybe it's 12 weeks, maybe it's 52 weeks that you sacrifice where you don't get paid because you have a vision that you're going to be making $8,000 a month, or maybe it's $16,000 a month when you have $1 million business. Maybe you're making $20,000 a month, and you know that you have the resources not only solve your money problems, solve your family's money problems, but then you have the resources to be able to solve other people's money problems.
Amen.
And the only reason that we get scared and fearful is because we're so focused on ourselves and our own like tiny, scared feelings. And so, Kemi, it's like these are not your feelings. These are not your thoughts. Like you're just a human, just like I am, just like Brian Grant is, and Andreas and Christine and Kenyon and Nettie. Like we're all just humans. We have the same freaking thoughts. Like we are not special. Not a single person here is special, right? So more than we can, like a good frame that I go through is just like these are not my thoughts. These are not my feelings, and so that means I have the ability to act despite feeling fearful. Or I can just change my thoughts to enough where I just feel good and like, I actually feel really good about this. Whatever works for you. But your intentions, what are your intentions? Are your intentions good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you doing this for the greater good? Just because in the moment, people can only see this, you see this. And that's why entrepreneurship is hard. That's why any sort of goals are hard, because nobody sees it but you. And sometimes it's even fuzzy for you to see because we get distracted by all these problems, all these squirrels that come up that distract us from what our goal is. So that's why when we're feeling these feelings, like number one, like it's okay. But then it's like, how do you get back? Then you get back to what your goals are. It's going back to the data, which is something that we've joked around a lot, but it truly does. It's helpful when we're feeling emotional. It's like, go back to the data. It's like, if I'm making $43,000 a month, I'm going to be pulling home $8,600. I'm making $2,000 a month. Like, okay, it's worth it. Right? I see where we're going. And just understanding the reason that most people don't get to that point. Like, does anybody in here know how many businesses actually reach $1 million in the United States? This is a stat I looked up because I was curious, and then I was surprised by it that I started using it as a way to, help my team. It's 9%. Only 9% of businesses reach $1 million in revenue. It's not a lot. That means 91% of businesses don't. And so the fact that you want to have $1 million business, it makes you in the 9%. You have to go through feelings, challenges, obstacles that the other 91% weren't willing to go through for a long enough period of time in order for them to get to the 9%. The only difference between the 91 and 9% is just time and where you're feeling right now. It's just this unknown. Like, I'm not sure what to do. I have no idea. And somehow you show up and you keep doing it anyway. That's a very overarching explanation of like what you're doing is good. It's the signal. And the fact that you're in this group, the fact that like you're making the commitments to, you're putting yourself in a position to be accountable to me, to this group, to the Deck and Day group. It's increasing your probability that you'll continue to do the right things for a long enough period of time for you to become part of the 9%. And that's all you can ask for. Like, there's no for sure things. But give yourself the best chance.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Kenny.
I want to drop one interesting stat on top of that, Logan, if you don't mind. Your 9%, like that, don't hit that.
Please.
Small Business Association doesn't even consider you a small business until you hit $1 million in revenue. So everything under that is classified as like a hobby, basically. Doesn't mean it's not significant, doesn't mean it's not life-changing to people, but two things. One, that the ceiling is huge, right? That there's so much opportunity out there.
Yeah.
And putting that cap of like $1 million, it's hard to get there. And guess what? It's going to be harder after that. It's going to be really hard, to keep going, but so much opportunity, and, that, very few make it there, but the ones that do, that's a big old wide gap up to $40 million. That is a small business, considered a small business. So
like 1 to 40 is considered a small business.
1 to 40 is considered a small business.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Why do when you see that data, what does it make you think, Brian? Like why
Reminds me to
What?
think bigger and think scale and volume on things, because if that's not, that's where things get profitable and super rewarding, maybe on this, where you can be a hands-off owner, things like that, but that doesn't need to be the ceiling, and it doesn't need to be the ultimate goal, because you can still be that small business owner and have a $35 million a year business. And you're going to have probably the same, a lot of those small business owner problems, those struggles, those things, that pain that she's feeling right now. Like, imagine a negative 2% margin or negative 2% the EBITDA on a $30 million business. So they're going to be there. The struggles are going to be there for a long time, and learning to hold back on the emotion, as these are the learning phases. Holding back on the emotion now, making data-driven decisions is going to make 1 to 40 easier and something that you'd look forward to, rather than getting the crap beat out of you for another 20 years. So
it might take you 45 years to get to that $35 million. So it's like,
absolutely.
if I'm going to be in business for that long, then might as well like set an expectation that's like, okay, like I have 40 years to make it to $40 million. Just kind of like, okay. And I think a lot of the things that I see in UCAM, these things that I have at times also struggled with, was just an expectation of like, I want to go now. I think that's just the human nature in us. And it's also the human nature in us for us to be like, stop, like this is scary, like don't do this, because like growing a business is not actually in alignment with what our body wants, which is it wants safety, it wants security. And business is literally quite the opposite. So it's a skill that we have to train, and we have to go against a lot of maybe what we have believed that these signals inside us mean. So I think that's why we just have to like continue to find ways to enjoy it, whether it's a community, whether it's setting these arbitrary goals like $1 million or 10 million or $40 million. Like how do we continue to make it fun? Connect with people like Brian, like you, Cami, like how do we have relationships? Like, because the more that we enjoy something, the longer that we'll continue to do something. And I think ultimately it's just, that is, to me, that is the game. So cool. Andreas, I see you on here, and I saw your hand was raised earlier. Do you still have a question? Because we can take one more question, then let's close this Thursday night party out. Okay. What's up, girl? Yep.
Hello.
Good. What's up? What's up?
Oh, hi. No, everything good. I was just when Christine was talking, I was suggesting something about remarketing. That was when I raised my hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any questions?
Well, this week I had this situation with a customer that called us for deep cleaning for really dirty house, and
Them dirty houses.
She was expecting things that were brittle and falling apart to be looking sparkling, and I'm dealing with that right now. So that's yeah, it's just venting, nothing.
It's good. I think sometimes there's things in business, specifically like because we're all in the cleaning business, there's going to be things that every single business owner, the problem you're facing, put in the chat, guys, if you guys have faced that same thing, that you have a client who has a dirty ass house and they were expecting it to be sparkling clean after 5 or 6 hours of deep cleaning. So
Well, it was over 30 man hours, and
30
she's
man hours,
still
yeah.
not happy. So
Yeah.
I can't. I just fired her.
Yeah, that's yeah. So the bigger the man hours, the bigger the pain sometimes that people are, right? So yeah, I think we all feel you. So you're in the right place to be venting, and just know that again, it's not an Andreas problem. It's just a business problem, not to be solved, but to be managed. So it's part of the game. Back to the expectation thing that I was talking with Cami is like, the more that we can just expect these things to happen, like when we get angry customers, or we have cleaners do crazy things, I just expect it, and just makes it easier to move on. We can't undo 10 years of not cleaning with 10 hours of cleaning. Yeah. So with that being said, there's always something to learn from these situations. And I think one of the things that I've consistently seen when it comes to selling new clients is expectation, and just and putting as much emphasis to the salesperson is like, the more you can set an expectation that we can always meet and perhaps exceed, you set the cleaners up for success. So like if you sell hot, and you overextend what we can do and our cleaners can't, like our cleaners are entry level people who maybe just been on the team for a week or two, maybe a month or two, and you give this unrealistic expectation to the client, and then the client's like, oh my god, you know what, they forgot the inside of the fridge, or they forgot to do a baseboard in the entryway, and then it's just like, so a lot of those things I have found are just an expectation problem. So it's sometimes just like who's ever doing sales. So if it's you, or if you have a salesperson, it's just like trying to set a proper expectation. Hey, I have no idea. Based on what you told me, like this could be crazy, and you could even do all those things right, and sometimes you just have crazy clients.
Yes, I think that's more of the situation here,
Yeah.
because my husband he's the operation manager, so he showed up in the house and say, hey, your house has this mold situation. We don't handle black mold, because he explained, and there's years of build up grease in your kitchen, so we'll do our best, but still she wasn't like happy with the results. But I say, well, you maybe need to paint the walls and replace the light switches, because they're not coming off, and we're not putting water on that because there's electricity. So, and she was just unreasonable. So I just say, well, I appreciate the opportunity, and this is what we did, and I'm sorry you didn't like it, something of the sort, and wish her the best, and that's it.
Move on to the next one. Cool. Appreciate you. All right, I see a question in the chat. And Andrea Price had her Google business account disabled. Has anybody? Oh, Brian said he's got somebody who's helped. Okay, thanks, Brian. Brian's the man to go to, man. If you need things answered, just ask Brian. Appreciate you, Brian. All right, guys. Do we have any final questions? We can take one more question. Otherwise, we can peace out for. Yeah, peace out, Evan. Good to see you, my dude. We can have a wonderful intro to the weekend. Cool. All right, guys.
Hey, thanks again, Logan.
Yeah.
As always, man.
Thank you for being on here. Happy Thursday, guys. We'll see you guys next week.